In Los Angeles, California, highway robbery is no longer just a euphemism for our income taxes, but actually something that happens in broad daylight.
Stay there. Hey, stay there. Don't move. Hey, stay there.
Now, even though they caught them in 4K from multiple angles, apparently the plates on that white Chevy Malibu actually belong to a silver Toyota Corolla. So without the vehicle VIN, I doubt they'll catch these discount VIN diesels. As remember the story we covered over a year ago in New York City, where a similar type of robbery occurred in the Upper East Side that was also seen in 4K, broad daylight with multiple video angles, and also used a stolen vehicle in the robbery. Well, apparently they were only able to catch the thieves because one of them dropped a Cash App card with their full name inside the vehicle they robbed. So when looking at ABC7's article on yesterday's robbery in LA, they report they don't know if these four masked men intentionally crashed into the vehicle, despite having a hammer and a crowbar, dressed like bootleg liberal hive mind if they sold this costume at Spirit Halloween. But no, a California Highway Patrol officer states that this is a rare occurrence, but in the event it does happen, don't confront the robbers. Just make sure your doors are locked. Sure, if only his doors were locked, he might not have been robbed. But this is on brand with California, as 2 years ago LAPD also sent out a warning about the uptick in robberies, saying, "Do not resist robbers, comply with their demands, and be a good witness." Although I do understand where they're coming from, they want people to be safe and criminals typically target defenseless individuals because they're defenseless. It's just that something always bothers me when the people that are telling you be an easier target for criminals never mean for themselves to be easier targets for criminals. As the coppers that write these bulletins don't leave their homes unarmed. Politicians pushing soft on crime policies don't live in the hood. But when it comes to you, it's not about protecting yourself, it's about protecting the criminals and their crime stats. Case in point, San Francisco, California simply cannot control vehicle break-ins. So much that they actually happen right in front of San Francisco PD, even when they're out there to specifically deter vehicle break-ins. But somehow, they can't get rid of laws like this that make these break-ins worse.
The way it works now is that prosecutors are required to prove that a vehicle was locked at the time of a car break-in, even if thieves broke a window.
But without having an individual who owns the car or possesses the car say that they locked the doors, would be required to dismiss a case or see that case be dismissed by a judge.
And plain and simple, it's because they need to juke the stats. Politicians love to boast about how effective their policies are, even if they aren't effective. And I've talked about this numerous times on this channel where my friend got robbed with a knife, but the next day LAPD documented it as 2 separate police reports, one for petty theft and one for brandishing. Not because this was 2 separate incidents, but because armed robbery numbers need to go down, so why actually arrest criminals committing crime when you can simply break up felonies and do easier to digest misdemeanors, because the only thing they can manage to save now is politicians' jobs. So no wonder places like our capital Sacramento just have broad daylight burglaries by bandits stealing snacks with their swine tier BMIs. And where's our political leadership to respond to these unlivable conditions? Hanging out in China, meeting their president. But maybe it's because his home is currently hosting a parade of sorts.
In Ferris, California, in Gavin Newsom's neck of the woods in his neighborhood, and the Apple Hill Trump train just paid us a visit over here.
So sad to say, I think things will continue to get a whole lot worse before they get any better, and the only thing people like me and you can do is refocus on keeping ourselves safe. And unfortunately for me, it's going to be voting with my feet, as I'm going to be leaving the area I live as they recently opened up a certain taxpayer-funded facility that has basically made my block unlivable for regular people. So hopefully in the near future, you guys get to see this show in a new and improved studio that doesn't also double as my kitchen, living room, dining area, and set for an online show that gets more views in places like CNN. But despite all that, if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out my video on how CNN's lies finally caught up to them in the streets.